How to get started in real estate investing. This is a question that's going to cross everybody's mind at some point or another, as it's becoming more and more common knowledge that real estate has produced more wealth for more people than anything else on the planet. And eventually, some sooner than others, start thinking about how they can get their share of that. Now, it's typically easier to get started than most people think, but there are some nuances that you're going to want to consider that you definitely don't want to mess up, especially in the beginning. So I'm going to show you how to get started the right way. You ready? Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through 8 specific steps to get started in real estate investing, and they come in a specific sequence, and you don't want to really mess with that sequence. I've seen it over and over when people take these steps, but they kind of take them conveniently in their own sequence, and what happens is they don't get the results, or they don't get them as fast as they wanted to get them, and or they just flat out eventually give up. And I don't want that to be you, so follow me through this. And if at the end you need some additional help, I will show you exactly how to get it. Now, number 1, get educated. Because there's a saying, there are no bad real estate investments, just uneducated investors. Now, it may appear really simple by just after watching the latest Flip That House show, but not so fast. You got to slow down a little bit because there's real money at play. Oftentimes it's your money, and oftentimes it's really big money. So you better know what you're doing before you get started. But I also say, don't let that intimidate you either. Realistically, today, there's probably enough free information right there online for you to get started and to get started effectively. Now, while you may be bombarded with advertisement after advertisement of the latest real estate investing program, the latest real estate investing guru that's coming to town, I just want you to know they're not essential to actually experience success in real estate. They can certainly help, but they're not required. I mean, you can learn the basics right here for free on a channel like this. And if you like the sound of that, go ahead and click the subscribe button. I post new videos like this each and every week. Also, there are plenty of real estate books and free podcasts. I happen to have one of those as well. You can go to epicrealestate.com. I post new episodes there every week also. Aside from me, you've got a ton of options out there. But keep in mind, it is possible to overeducate. Or I should say, unnecessarily educate yourself. You don't need to know everything about real estate investing to get started. You only really need to see the first step. I think it was Dr. Martin Luther King who said that very thing. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. And this is just like that. You see, there's a million different ways to make $1 million in real estate, and you only need to pick one. So do a little digging, take your time, do a little research, and find somebody or something that really resonates with you. Choose it, make a decision, and stick with it. If you'd like to start by looking at working with me one-on-one, and we do have some of those long-term expensive programs, but we've got other less intensive options as well. Head on over to reiace.com, answer a few questions, and then pick a time for us to hop on the phone, and then we'll brainstorm about what type of program would be the best fit for you, if a program is good for you at all or not. So number 2, set some goals. So after doing your initial research, your initial investigation, you'll have a really good idea as to what type of financial obligation may be involved. It is possible to get started with as little as $1,000, maybe even less in some circumstances. And this is exactly how I got started. And that's to say, if you want to become a successful real estate investor, money is never the obstacle. Most people think they've got a money problem, but in reality, all they've got is an idea problem. More on that later. But you want to decide what the end game is. Do you want to pick up a few rental properties for your portfolio? Do you want to turn it into a side hustle to earn some extra income? Or do you want to take it on full time and replace your day job's income and completely walk away from it? So go ahead and write down what you want to have happen in the next 6 months, in the next 12 months, in the next 5 years. And you typically don't need longer than that to create financial independence for yourself. Next, reverse engineer your whole plan. Start from that 5-year point and work your way backwards. If you and I happen to get on the phone, I can certainly help you out with that. Number 3, analyze your resources. What does your money look like, or your access to money? There are plenty of ways to get started investing in real estate with no money. I've got a bunch of videos right here on this channel for you to dig into. But it is much easier if you do have some. But with that in mind, it doesn't have to be your money, it just has to be access to money. You can use other people's money. And in many cases, that's probably the more prudent way to do it. And I've got a list of sources of other people's money. Now, depending on where you're starting, then some of these might be a little bit more applicable than others, but here's a list nonetheless. So the 7 OPM, other people's money sources, include first, an FHA loan. This is a loan insured by the federal government, and it typically doesn't come with the strict lending guidelines that a conventional loan would come with. It requires a smaller down payment, a lesser credit score, a fixed interest rate, and a long-term loan. Those are the types of things you're looking for as a real estate investor, and a lot of that, all of that is available right there in the FHA loan. The only requirement with an FHA loan is you have to live in the property first, but then you can eventually turn it into an income property. It's a great way to get started with very little money. Another great loan that might be available to you is a VA loan. Now you need prior military service to qualify, but what's great about a VA loan is it's 0% down, it's got a long-term fixed rate, and this too you also have to live in first, but it's a great way to get started if you have access to it. Now a third example of other people's money could be a conforming loan, and this is kind of what we all know as real estate financing. You walk into a bank and that loan is going to be backed by the federal government. You're going to need anywhere from 5 to 20% down. You're going to get a fixed rate. You're going to get a long-term loan also. But this, you don't have to live in it first. You could use this for an investment property or your primary residence. If you have the credit score and the financial means for a down payment, this is a really great loan to acquire also, especially with interest rates as low as they are right now. Now, another example of other people's money is a portfolio loan. Now, this is a very different type of loan. It still comes from a bank, but you're going to have slightly different lending qualifications. There are going to be different guidelines. And what's different about this loan is it stays within the bank. That conventional loan I talked about earlier, that bank is going to take that loan and they're going to sell it on the secondary market, where the bank gets money back, which gives them more liquidity to go out and lend that money out again. With the portfolio loan, that's going to stay internal, and they're going to be responsible for the servicing of that loan, and they're going to be liable should their borrower default. But what's really nice about this is they can be much more flexible, and if you have a really good relationship with your bank, that could be a great option for you too. Now, a fifth option for other people's money are what we call hard money loans. Now, these are asset-based loans, and what that means is the lender's not going to so much look at your credit score as they are going to look at the asset that you plan to purchase with their money. That ultimately represents their security. Now, with these loans, typically comes a shorter term, so it's not really a long-term situation for you, but it's great to acquire the property and then arrange different types of financing later. And they're also going to come in with higher fees. But it's a really great tool of the real estate investor to go ahead and make their acquisitions and figure out permanent financing later. And then there are private lenders. Private money you might have heard of. And that can be a real big mystery for people because they're always looking for private money lenders. And what they don't realize is that private money really should be referred to as relationship money, because that's exactly what it is. It's your family, it's your friends, your associates who you go to for these loans, and they can become the bank or the financing for your real estate investments there. And what's really nice about that is through that relationship, you can get some really great rates, and you can really create some magic for yourself if you got the right lenders in your corner. Now, the seventh form of other people's money is seller financing. Now, this is my favorite. It's what I've used to build my entire real estate portfolio. So traditionally, where you go to a bank to get a loan to purchase a property, in this case, the seller becomes the bank. The seller steps in and gives you that loan. Now, they don't actually give you a loan, but what you're doing is you're essentially buying that property with an IOU. You're saying, here's a little bit of money now, and then I'm going to give you this amount of money over time. If you'd like to go deeper into seller financing and other creative financing methods, you might really like what I put together for you over at epicbreakthrough.com. It's a great way to get started in creative financing. epicbreakthrough.com. You can take that domain name and type it into your browser, or I'll put the link down below in the description for your convenience. So the type of financing that you choose for your real estate investments is really going to depend on your financial situation and your experience. Just understand the more options that you have available, the more real estate investing you'll be able to do, the more profit you'll be able to generate. Now, here at Epic, we provide 100% financing for our clients for their fix and flips, and we provide the best rates in the business for their buy and holds. And if that's something you'd like to take a closer look at, head over to reiace.com. You'll answer a few questions, then you'll have an opportunity to pick a time for us to hop on the phone. We'll brainstorm some ideas about what the future of your real estate investing looks like, and if there's a good fit, we'll tell you exactly what there is to do next so you can work with us. If there's not a good fit, we can give you some options that might work out better for you also. So number 4, choose a specific real estate investing strategy. And this doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out, complicated process either. Looking at your goals and your experience is going to give you a really good idea as to where you need to begin. At reiace.com, we can help you navigate that for free if you'd like. But for example, if cash is your biggest need, then maybe wholesaling or fix and flip is going to be the best option for you right now. If you're looking to build an income portfolio or really kind of build onto your wealth, then buy and hold single family homes might be the best starting point. But don't overthink this. The goal is to get started. You can make adjustments on the way. Just remember, you can't steer a parked car, so just get started. Number 5, pick your market. And a lot of people struggle with this because they think that their market is too competitive, that it's oversaturated, and they think they have to go invest in a market other than theirs to get real opportunity. That couldn't be further from the truth. You know, I've got a client, Jeremiah, and when we met, he wanted to invest in a different market. And I advised him, don't do it, don't do it. And then at the same time, coincidentally, I had another client, Chris, and he wanted to invest in another market as well. And I told him the same thing, don't do it, don't do it. So Jeremiah, he ignored my advice and invested in the other market. And he did really, really well for himself. And then Chris listened to my advice and invested in his own market, did not go to the other market. He listened to me, stayed in his own market, and he didn't do really well. In fact, I don't even know what he's doing today. And you might be thinking, well, this is great, Matt. If we just do the opposite of what you say, we're gonna be successful? No, my point is Jeremiah ignored my advice and invested in another market, was very successful. Here's the irony. The market he chose was the very market that Chris lived in. So it's not the market that's gonna determine your success. It's the real estate investor. So the quick and dirty way to choose your market is, first, pick one within driving distance of where you spend most of your time. And what I mean by driving distance is, if you are sitting down at the dinner table with your family and you get a phone call from a motivated seller and they say they are ready to sell their property, how far are you willing to drive in that type of situation to go out and get that contract signed? That should be your driving distance. So that's number 1. The second, look for your working class neighborhoods, like your blue collar neighborhoods. Where do your police officers live? Where do your school teachers live? Where do your government employees live? Where's the neighborhood where first-time home buyers move to? Like that newly married couple, they go out and they buy their first house. Where is that in your area? That's the market you really want to look at because that's where all of the activity is. Typically, people will move into there, they'll make a little bit of money, and then they'll move out. So there's a lot of buying and selling in those markets. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to get as well. And then you kind of want to factor in, you want to get right at the median or just below the median price point for the area. Because again, that's where all the activity is. And then you want to look for 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. Because if you're going to be flipping your house or you're going to be renting your house out, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses are the ones that are in highest demand. Follow those guidelines and that'll be a really good start. Again, you can make some modifications along the way, but that's an ideal starting point for most people in most markets. Now, before I break down the 3 final steps, if your wheels are starting to turn, you're getting some good ideas, go ahead and let me know by clicking the subscribe button. I post cool money-making videos like this each and every week, and I don't want you to miss a single episode. So click the subscribe button. Number 6, establish your minimum deal standards. Meaning, what is the minimum profit you'd be willing to accept if you were to flip a property? And what is the minimum cash flow you'd be willing to accept if you were to hold the property? For example, the first thing I do when I'm looking at a property and determining whether or not I want to look at it any deeper is I want to know 2 things. Does it have equity? And will it cash flow? So I'm looking for what is the purchase price that I'm likely to get this property for and what is it worth and what's the difference? Is there a potential for me to hit my minimum deal standard there if I were to flip the property? Further, if I were to hold on to it, what does it rent for and what's the purchase price? What's that ratio? So is it likely to cash flow if I were to buy and hold it? It's got to be a yes for both of those for this to be worthy of my time to do further research. The most successful real estate investors are able to make quick decisions and act fast. And because they know exactly what their minimum deal standards are, when they see it, it makes fast actions really, really easy. The best real estate investors, they're not buyers of real estate. The best real estate investors are shoppers. The more clear you are on what you're looking for, the easier it is to shop. The easier it is to make quick decisions, the easier it is to act fast. And the faster you act, the more successful you'll be. Number 7, create a plan and find deals. As much as I'd like it to be true, good real estate deals just don't land in your lap. You got to go out and look for them. And it's akin to, mining for gold. You got to sift through a lot of dirt to find those nuggets. Now, there are countless methods for finding deals, and every one of them works. Nothing doesn't. Now, contrary to popular belief, you only need one way to go about it. And that's good news for most. The better news is you actually get to pick which one you want to do. I mean, you can work with real estate agents. You can network your way with other real estate investors or centers of influence like attorneys and CPAs. Those are all really great ways to find deals. If you're a people person, that might be right up your alley. Not to mention, there's no expense involved. You could also drive through neighborhoods, you can walk through neighborhoods and just look for signs of distress. And when you find one, you can make contact with that owner and present an offer to them. That's another great way to find deals. You can pick up the phone and just start calling or texting for sale by owners or pre-foreclosures or expired listings or absentee owners. You can place ads in the classifieds, whether online or off. You can send direct mail. You can work social media. You can place digital ads all over the internet, or you can put a sign on your car and people see your name and your phone number as you drive around. Or you can take those signs, you can put them in the ground, you can put them up on telephone poles. Essentially, anywhere you see advertising or marketing is a potential for you to attract deals to yourself. Number 8, now schedule it. You got to schedule the work. If you don't schedule it, it ain't getting done. Now, maybe you've got lots of time, or maybe you don't. You really don't need that much time. In a few hours a week, you can still become a successful real estate investor. And I put together a free training on this very thing, and I think you'll really like what you see. Head over to mattsfreetraining.com and I'll walk you through the process step by step on how to find deals, how to become a successful real estate investor in as little as an hour a day. You can type that domain name into the browser, or I'll go ahead and I'll put a link down below for your convenience. Now, if you found this video useful, who else do you know that might? There's a good chance that you know someone else who would, and when their name comes to mind, please share it with them. All right, I'm Matt Theriault. I'll see you next time. Take care.